Today we're back on my slightly larger juniper that's got quite bushy recently. My goal of this tree has been to try and let it grow wild so it can thicken up. But it's a juniper, so you can't just let it get too crazy, as all the growth will end up far away from the trunk, and it can be hard to try and get it back to being compact again. So I'm going to prune it back here. I'll mostly be removing the tips and anything that's looking like it might be a bit too strong, which will hopefully balance the energy out a bit better and allow the foliage that is closer towards the trunk to still grow and remain strong. Really, I'm just trying to make sure the outer shoots don't get too out of hand. It's kind of a balancing act, and I'm really looking forward to the day where I can actually cut quite a lot of this back. It's going to look very different to what we have here. This branch here is a good example of what's going on. Basically all the energy is out at the end and most of the branch is bare, but there is a tiny bit of growth closer in. But it's looking weak, so I'm just going to remove the outer stuff and see what happens. Hopefully that will recover it, but the whole point of this pruning is to avoid that happening in the first place. It's a slow process trying to develop a juniper. This was a little pencil thin whip when it started, so it's doing well so far. The trunk is developing, even if it's in a smaller pot than I want. But really it's going to be a few more years before I can really enjoy all the work that I'm doing here. And that's it finished. It doesn't look too different, but I've actually removed a lot. It does take quite a while to go through everything, and all those little cuts do add up. Obviously that bit's massive, but you can see the rest of the foliage removed. A lot of it's just the small tips, so it should be nice and balanced now. It looks a bit miserable in June. There's some small brown bits, which will be from me causing damage when pruning it and not making clean enough cuts. But it's fine, it'll just look a little ugly for a while. I'm going to prune it again in July. I think here you can really start to see the struggles of trying to develop a juniper. You can really see some of the stronger areas sticking out from the rest of the tree. The foliage on these parts looks much healthier and stronger, but you can't just leave it to do what it wants, or all that inner foliage is going to die and you end up with long branches with lollipops of foliage on the end, and it just looks stupid. But you also have to let those strong bits grow too, as you want the trunk to thicken, so it really is a balancing act. It's a lot easier with deciduous trees. You just let them grow and then hack them right back, and they'll just regrow with no problems. That wouldn't really work with a juniper. As soon as you remove the foliage from the branch, it's probably going to die. So you have to do this whole balancing act of letting the end grow while not letting the inner foliage die at the same time. It's looking pretty good in August. It has got a nice vibrant colour to it. And then in September there's not much going on. It's probably going to start slowing down now for winter. October should be a fairly quiet month, but I've noticed there's a big problem. And I'll warn you now, this is some shocking footage that we're about to see here. Let me move the camera in closer so you can see if you can notice it. Can you see that absolute beast of a spider right where my hand needs to go in the pot? So I'm just trying to, gently persuade him to leave, and he didn't agree with me. Have you ever seen anything like that? I don't know what's more shocking, the fact that it charged me down or the fact that I ran away. So now I need to reclaim my tree, but I can't see where he went. Obviously poking with a stick worked so well last time that I'll have to try it again. And look, again he ran at me. This is crazy. But luckily I was hiding behind that bigger pot, so he didn't get me. And he seems to have decided to stay there for now. I've never seen anything like that with a spider. That was something else. But the tree is mine again, so let's give it a quick spin and see what hasn't changed since last month. And you can see here in November, I'm clearly a bit worried about touching the pot. I don't want to battle that spider again. I think it's gone now, but the tree is going to be pretty much dormant here. In February I didn't touch it. I could have pruned it back, but I'm going to repot it soon, so I just left it alone. It's best not to mess with the top and bottom too close together as it can cause too much stress. In April it's time to repot, and I can tell by looking at it it's going to be packed with roots. It's in there pretty tight. It's not coming out as easily as I thought it might. But it's nothing a good karate chop can't sort out. And you can see straight away there's a lot of roots in here. If you watched the video last week on the other juniper, it's going to be pretty similar today. And like that one, I have a similar colander pot. This one's slightly bigger. I did measure the pot size of the pot it's in now, and this was apparently a similar size, although looking at it here it looks way smaller. I guess it is a kind of different shape, but I think it's going to be a tight fit. And I think there's going to have to be some drastic root work here. Just pulling these bottom roots, you can tell right away they're super long. I don't really want to be chopping these all off, but I don't really have any choice. This will stress the tree out significantly, but it needs to be done. So I just got rid of them, and I have a feeling I'm going to regret that. And then I'll start raking out the rest of the tree. I'll try and keep what I can, but I'm worried this tree has a lot of foliage on top, and any reduction in roots is going to unbalance things. So I'll need to watch this very carefully in the next few weeks. And I may have to drastically reduce the top a lot sooner than I planned if it's really struggling after this root work. After I raked everything out, you can see the roots are super long. This is really going to be way too much work for these roots, but we'll see what happens. So I'll shorten them up and pod them up. And like I said in the other juniper video, the whole point of the colander pot is to help the roots develop and not just get stupidly long like they were before. The tips should grow through the mesh and then they're exposed so they'll die, causing them to reshoot further back in towards the trunk. So hopefully I should end up with a pretty dense root ball closer to the trunk. Although this root ball isn't too bad. It was long, but there's still plenty of roots here. I'll just need to watch this tree very carefully now. It's going to be stressed for sure. And then you can see I'm just reusing the same soil as it's in good shape. People say you shouldn't really remove too much of the soil from a juniper as it can stress the tree out, being in totally fresh stuff. But I'm not even using any fresh stuff here, so I don't think that'll really be an issue. It's just more the amount of roots I removed that I need to worry about. Here it is now. Not much change yet, so hopefully it can recover well from this. Thanks for watching. See you next time.